Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to Jinjin's Cosmic. If you didn't happen to be here, perhaps it's time to meet your soul. They tell you Libra is the sign of peace. They speak of charm, of balance, of a grace so effortless, it seems a gift from the heavens themselves. They show you the smile, the artful diplomacy, the calm that settles over a room when a Libra walks in. But they don't tell you the secret. They don't tell you that this peace is not a gift, but a victory. They don't tell you that this balance is not a state of being, but a war won in silence every single day. And they certainly don't tell you that behind the most beautiful smile in the zodiac hides a judgment so profound it can sever a soul without ever raising its voice. Because Libra is not here to be liked. It is here to be just. And sometimes, the price of justice is the self. Before we unlock the arcane mystery of the scales, I want you to look within. Have you, as a Libra, ever felt the chilling silence that comes after you've made everyone else happy but yourself? Or have you ever watched a Libra in your life slowly fade, their warmth replaced by a polite distance, and only later realized they were never truly there at all? White right pointing backhand index. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience is a testament to the weight that Libra carries, a mirror for another soul who feels unseen. And if you are new to this sanctuary of truth, subscribe to Zodiac Secrets Revealed. The veil is thin here, and we are just beginning to pull it back. Today, we journey into the heart of the great paradox. We uncover the hidden war of Libra. To understand Libra, you must first understand its birth. Libra is not born in stillness. It is born in the shattering moment the soul first realizes, I am not alone. It is the instant a singular consciousness fractures into two, the self and the other. In that moment, a question is imprinted upon the soul, a question that will haunt Libra for a lifetime. Who am I in your eyes? This is the source of Libra's power and its most sacred wound. People call it the sign of the mirror, but that is a profound understatement. Libra is not a passive reflection. It is an absorption. It does not simply see you. It inhales your energy, your expectations, your unspoken needs, your hidden judgments. It feels the architecture of a room's tension before it feels its own desire. This is not a social skill. It is a survival instinct forged in the cosmic dawn. The need for harmony is not a preference. It is a primal hunger for safety. To the Libran soul, conflict is not mere discomfort. It is a tearing of the fabric of existence. Disapproval feels like exile. An argument feels like a spiritual death. And so, the mask is forged, polished, smiling, impossibly agreeable. It is a masterpiece of social art, designed to smooth every edge, to calm every storm, to preemptively surrender in a war no one else even knows is being fought. Behind this mask, Libra's own truths, its own needs, its own jagged edges are held in suspension, deferred, silenced, all in service of the other. This is the first great tragedy of Libra, the sign of justice that so often sentences itself to silence, the sign of truth that learns to swallow its words like poison, hoping the harmony it buys is worth the price. But the mirror was never meant to be a prison, and every mask, no matter how beautiful, eventually cracks. They tell you Venus rules Libra, and so they imagine softness. They see romance, art, gentle persuasion. They picture a muse, floating on a cloud of charm, passive and adored. They have forgotten who Venus truly is. Venus is not merely the goddess of love. She is the goddess of value, of strategic alliance, of sovereign worth. In Libra, she is not a blushing maiden. She is the empress of influence, the queen who negotiates empires into submission with a single, perfectly timed smile, the strategist who disarms her enemies not with a sword, but with a word so impeccably chosen it feels like a gift. Do not mistake Libra's grace for weakness. It is social intelligence honed into a weapon. Their elegance is armor. Their charm is a calculated siege. In the boardroom, at the dinner table, in the silent battlefield of a relationship, Libra is a grandmaster of human chess. They are reading every micro-expression, every hesitation, every shift in energy. They are not reacting to the moment. They are 5 moves ahead, constantly calibrating, maneuvering, and guiding the outcome towards the one non-negotiable goal: stability. Chaos is the enemy. Disruption is failure. And so, Libra becomes the architect of seamless moments. But here, in this dazzling display of social power, lies the shadow. Venus's gift becomes a curse. In the obsession with creating a beautiful surface, Libra will hide anything real that is ugly. It will smooth over a jagged truth with a polite lie of omission. It will offer a compliment when it feels a criticism. It becomes so fluent in the language of tact that it forgets the mother tongue of its own soul. This gives rise to relationships built not on raw, messy truth, but on unspoken contracts. The most dangerous of these is the one Libra makes with itself. I will become what you need me to be, if you will only grant me peace. I will be your perfect reflection, if you will only love what you see. This is not born of malice. It is born of a profound and often unconscious survival strategy. It is the child who learned to read a parent's mood to avoid a storm. It is the friend who silences their own pain to comfort yours. It is the partner who senses your disappointment and changes shape to please you before you have even spoken a word. This is Libra's silent, crushing burden: to be the most skilled diplomat in the room and the most neglected citizen of their own inner world. They wield the velvet chains of influence, only to find they have bound themselves most tightly of all. Justice, fairness, equality. These are not just words to Libra. They are cosmic laws etched into their very soul. They carry these ideals not as preferences, but as a sacred and impossibly heavy burden. And this is the problem. The world is not just. Life is not fair. Humans are not equal in their capacity for grace, for truth, for reciprocity. And so, Libra stands perpetually in a cosmic courtroom, tasked with rendering a perfect judgment in a world that is inherently flawed. This is the true source of the famed Libran indecision. It is not weakness. It is a sacred paralysis. Libra hesitates, not because it lacks conviction, but because it is burdened with too much sight. It sees every side of every story. It feels the potential pain of every possible outcome. It weighs the consequences not as an intellectual exercise, but as a moral imperative. To make a choice is to create an imbalance, to wound one side, to declare one truth superior to another. And this act feels like a violation of its core programming. Think of it: the unbearable weight of trying to make a decision that hurts no one, that offends nothing, that serves everyone. It is an impossible equation. and it can become a prison of the mind. In the quest for the perfect, blameless choice, Libra delays. It polls the room. It gathers endless data. It waits for a sign, for a consensus, for a path so obviously right that it requires no courage to walk. And in doing so, it often creates the very conflict it sought to avoid. Justice without action becomes avoidance. Fairness without a deadline becomes paralysis. The scales, meant to be an instrument of clarity, begin to tremble and stall, overloaded by the pursuit of an impossible perfection. Here lies the dark edge of Libra's righteousness. In the desperate attempt to take no side, they often take no stand at all. In honoring every voice, they can completely lose their own. This is when the quiet judgment begins to curdle. While maintaining an outward calm, Libra can become the silent critic, the internal scorekeeper, mentally noting every imbalance, every social misstep, every act of unfairness. It is not cruelty. It is the mind's desperate attempt to impose order on a chaotic world, a way to police the board when the game feels rigged. The great lesson for Libra is that balance is not a destination. It is not stillness. It is motion. It is the constant, courageous act of choosing, falling, and choosing again. The scales are not meant to be static. They are meant to be a living compass, guiding one through the messy, beautiful, and profoundly unbalanced dance of life. Libra is the sign of we, of partnership, of connection, of the sacred bond between two souls. But what happens when the we consumes the I? What happens when the reflection in the mirror is so perfectly attuned to the other that the original self is no longer recognizable? This is the most intimate and devastating battle Libra will ever fight. It is the war against erasure. The Libran empathy is a superpower. It tunes into the unspoken needs of others with breathtaking precision. It adapts, it soothes, it becomes what the moment requires. But this gift, when unchecked, becomes a slow-acting poison. What begins as diplomacy curdles into self-abandonment. What starts as meeting halfway ends with Libra walking the entire road alone, carrying the emotional luggage for two. They say yes when their soul is screaming no. They smile when they feel utterly invisible. They offer a listening ear, while their own heart is breaking in silence, and they attract it. They attract partners, friends, and family who grow accustomed to the effortless peace Libra provides. These people are not necessarily malicious. They are simply enjoying the beautiful, calm reflection Libra offers, never realizing they are looking at a performance. They don't see the silent calculations, the constant inner negotiations, the spiritual exhaustion required to maintain that flawless surface. So Libra can become the most beloved person in the room and, at the same time, the most profoundly unknown. This is where resentment is born. It is a quiet, creeping vine that grows in the dark cellar of the soul. It is the byproduct of every unspoken need, every swallowed truth, every boundary that was never drawn. The more Libra suppresses, the more toxic the inner world becomes. And one day, the dam breaks. Sometimes it is a sudden, shocking rage that erupts over something small, terrifying everyone, including Libra itself. More often, it is the infamous Libra ghosting, the slow fade, the quiet exit, the connection that is severed without a word of explanation. The warmth drains away, replaced by a polite, impenetrable wall of ice. Those left behind are stunned. But everything was fine, they say. They never saw it coming, because Libra's greatest art is making sure no one ever has to look at the mess. This rupture is not the end of the story. It is the painful, necessary beginning of Libra's resurrection. It is the soul finally screaming for air, demanding to know, what do I want? Who am I when no one is watching? What happens if I disappoint someone in order to be honest with myself? This is the hardest work. To learn that a connection that requires the erasure of your soul is not love. It is a cage with gilded bars. And Libra was not born to be a beautiful object on display. It was born to relate, authentically and fiercely, from a place of wholeness. There is a fire in Libra, a sacred, clarifying fire that is often banked so low it feels like it has gone out. This is the fire of no. For Libra, the word no can feel like a declaration of war. It is the ultimate disruption. It is choosing a side. It is rocking the boat. And so, it becomes the most feared word in their vocabulary. But the path to Libra's true power is paved with the no's. It was too afraid to say, no, I cannot do that favor. No, that comment is not okay. No, I will not pretend this is fine when it is not. No, I will not sacrifice my peace for your comfort. Each no is a reclamation. It is an act of sacred rebellion against the tyranny of being liked. It is the soul choosing integrity over agreeability. And when Libra finally learns to wield this word, not with anger, but with calm, unshakable clarity, something miraculous happens. They do not become harsh or unlovable. They become magnetic. They become magnetic, not because they please, but because they are real. Their grace is no longer a mask. It is the velvet glove over a hand of iron. They become the person who can deliver a hard truth with so much love that it heals instead of wounds. They become the immovable object of principle, who can stand firm without becoming rigid. They become the soul who can look at conflict not as an ending, but as an opportunity for a deeper, more honest beginning. This is the alchemical transformation of Libra. It is the integration of the diplomat and the warrior. It is learning that true harmony is not the absence of tension, but the courageous presence within it. It is discovering that their greatest gift was never their smile. It was their discernment, the ability to see all sides, and then, with wisdom and integrity, to finally choose their own. When Libra stops trying to be everyone's favorite, it finally becomes its own sovereign. And so, we arrive at the final evolution. The people pleaser is gone. The cracked mirror has been turned inward, not to find flaws, but to find truth. In its place stands the judge, the high priest of justice, not the arbiter of others' lives, but the fierce guardian of what is true, what is real, and what is worthy. This is the Libra that was always meant to be. The quiet activist, the artist who uses beauty not to hide, but to protest. The lover who demands equality, not adoration. The soul who understands that justice is not a social construct, but a spiritual law, a cosmic balance that cannot be cheated. That famed hesitation, the pause that was mistaken for weakness, is finally understood for what it always was. Conscience, a profound, sacred desire to honor the whole truth. But the final lesson has been learned. Not choosing is a choice. Silence is a message. And the world does not need more polite agreement. It needs the searing clarity of those rare souls who can hold the tension of opposites without collapsing, who can disagree without creating division, who can love without losing themselves. The world needs Libra, not the mask, but the embodied force of balance it was born to be. So let the scales tip. Let the voice tremble as it speaks its first real truth. Let the beautiful surface crack to reveal the messy, powerful reality beneath. You were not born to be perfect. You were born to be just. And that is a far more revolutionary thing to be.